Live, local, social, welcome to the Splash Live on Civic Center TV. I'm Tyler Keith. Thank you for joining us on another busy week in West Bloomfield. We'll kick it off right off the bat with some fun out and about in the community as we get to the closing parts of the summer. Those got out in the community got out on the lake recently to visit one of the most unique places in our communities, Apple Island, courtesy of the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society. Jonathan Montgomery has the story.
Everyone knows there's nothing like being on the water on an amazing summer day, and the Greater West Bloomfield Historical Society knows the same thing, as they have teamed up with West Bloomfield Parks to give local residents an experience unlike anything else.
So Historical Society does tours once or twice a year, and they are a really unique opportunity, but we partnered together to get there in a different way. So the kayak tours, actually this is only our second year with the West Bloomfield School District, the Historical Society, and West Bloomfield Parks doing the kayak tours. There was a lot of great interest the first time around, even with a wait list, so we knew we were onto something that people in the community were really interested in. So this year when we offered it, we made sure we were able to accommodate as many as we possibly can. We want to make sure that we're safe. We have enough boats that can stay together concisely and get to the island, and we don't tread on the island too much. So there are some considerations when choosing the number that we can bring, but we have seen it grow. Lots of people have been interested. We have a few returners this year who loved it so much they came back, and then lots of new people that are coming to join as well. So there's definitely an interest, and it hasn't teetered off yet at all. It just keeps going up.
I don't do boats, so this to me is the best because you can just stick your hands or feet in the water if you want to and keep kayaking. And then even though they do the boat tours to the island, probably the same thing. You get off at the island and you walk around and they give you a little bit of a history tour. And it's just maybe a little more personal because it's only a small group of people. It's not a constant flow of boaters and tourists. So I guess it's more personal, more intimate, and so I think it's a better memory. It's a 3-hour trip, so it's not for a true beginner. You've had to have kayaking experience and have some, I guess, upper body strength to be able to kayak for so long. But they do take breaks and they let people catch up. But I definitely recommend it for anyone who's at least kayaked in the past and is comfortable being in water for that long.
This is a fantastic partnership between West Bloomfield Parks and Recs, the Historical Society, West Bloomfield Schools, and our incredible community of people that love to be on water, love to explore, and love to help preserve and make our earth sustainable. So we started doing these tours a few years ago, and it keeps multiplying. We have waiting lists all the time. And I work a lot with the Historical Society, and we do our yearly tours out there. And people are so anxious to see what goes on out on the beautiful, historical, spiritual, magical island.
This collaborative event with West Bloomfield Parks and the Historical Society speaks volumes of the relationships here in Greater West Bloomfield, as residents came out to not only enjoy a moment on the lake, but also to learn a little history about the area around them. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jonathan Montgomery.
A great use of a weekend, a sunny day out in Greater West Bloomfield, getting out on the water to explore some history and also a great piece of nature in Greater West Bloomfield. For more events from West Bloomfield Parks, visit wbparks.org. Their fall calendar is open. Sign up for those events, and activities are already underway. Same goes for the Historical Society on gwbhs.org. Speaking of history, we had a chance to see not only history but also art, as a unique perspective came into town with local artists taking a temporary residence at one of our local galleries. Jake Schaff has more.
Art and culture are going to be on display all throughout the month of August right here at Art Leaders Gallery in West Bloomfield, as a family of 3 Ukrainian artists are in residency at the gallery all this month, demonstrating their beautiful artistic styles for the community and giving them the opportunity to take one of their art pieces home for themselves. It's an immersive experience for everyone and a very special honor for each and every one of these artists.
We have here 3 Ukrainian artists. Actually, one of them came here from Spain, Natasha, who is the daughter of Konstantin Savchenko, and then we have Anastasia Skrileva. Anastasia, as well as Konstantin, have been with the gallery for quite a few years. They do this wonderful impasto technique with that brilliant texture that you're going to probably see here behind me very shortly. And Natalia, who goes by Natasha, She came from Spain just a few days ago. She just got over her flight tiredness and is now creating these amazing, wonderful pieces. She's new to us here at the gallery, and we're really excited to have all of them here.
As Candice said, it's my first time here, it's the first time being here, and actually I have kind of history, because I'm only working as an artist for a year and a half, like a little bit more. I worked as a front-end developer before, but it's like art is in my blood. My father is an artist, whole family are artists, so I started and I'm enjoying here. And for me right now here at Art Leaders Gallery, it's like a huge opportunity, so I'm enjoying it.
What is it like to be showcasing your many wonderful pieces of art right here at Art Leaders Gallery in West Bloomfield?
Я очень благодарна галерее.
First of all, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I'm very happy, and I'm making my art pieces in different styles, and I can do whatever people like it's flowers, bouquet, landscape, and so. It feels awesome because you can make art with your family all together, because in Ukraine, in Kharkiv, I create my art pieces by myself. We were like separated, and now it's like so valuable, and I appreciate it a lot.
They're going to be creating here every day through the month of August. And what's really neat is not only are we an art gallery right now, but we're an artist studio. And you can come on in, watch them do what they do best, watch them create these wonderful pieces. You can even ask them to create your own custom piece while you're here, which is really, really fun, and watch it be done right in front of you. It's phenomenal to see within even 10 minutes and 30 minutes what they come up with, and how just out of nowhere this imagery comes alive on the canvas. So I think one thing that I'm taking away from this is the level of experience we see in all three of these artists, and how quickly they're able to make these wonderful paintings that many of us can only dream about doing. Their talent is unmatched.
What are you hoping that residents take away and experience when they see your artwork firsthand?
I paint a lot of years, I'm real professional, but my technique is more not from mind, it's from heart. It's need a lot of experience to paint like this. I teach Anastasia about 10 years, palette knife, more expressions. And people who see my pictures feel my heart and all my soul.
I hope they will feel the bond that we have, because our technique a little bit similar, different, but a little bit similar, and we really do put effort, we put emotions, true feelings into each piece. This is what I would like to feel for other people.
Has an experience like this helped to improve your love of art that much more?
This experience, of course. First of all, of this beautiful gallery, this environment, supporting people. Yeah, sure do.
It's incredible to be seeing people showcase their talents to another side of the world, and even more special that they've made their way right here to Greater West Bloomfield. Once again, these artists will be in residency at Art Leaders Gallery all throughout the month of August, providing the community many chances to see their talents firsthand and to take home pieces of this incredible gallery for themselves. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
Art and culture on display at Art Leaders Gallery in Greater West Bloomfield. Fantastic story, Jake, and great work being done there. As they said, you can stop in at Art Leaders Gallery, see the process, talk to them even more about it, maybe even get some of your own works done before they exit their artist in residency at the end of the month of August. Now through the end of September, it's your chance to get involved with the future of our beloved West Bloomfield parks as they go into the process of updating their master plan. The future is in focus now, and you have a chance to play a big role in that. With more information, joining us now is the Executive Director of West Bloomfield Parks, Kelly Heyer. Kelly, thanks for coming on the show.
Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning. Glad to have you on as we talk about the future of West Bloomfield Parks. It's been a great present. It's been a great past. So much has developed just in recent years with your organization. Now you're turning to the public. How can they be helpful in you and your team planning for a very bright future ahead?
Well, we would love for our residents to take our survey. So the survey is now online and open. Of course, if you need a paper copy, we can help you, provide you with one. But that is through the end of September. And we're really asking the questions to the residents, where should we put our next priorities? Of course, we have several capital projects already in motion that have lined up over the next couple of years, but we want to look to the future. What's important to our residents? And let us hear your feedback, everything from your amenities that you see in the parks to the programs and services we're doing now or what we could be doing in the future.
And that's an important point too, because all of the work that's been done up to this point, especially recently with developments of Pine Lake Park, of course, the new community center, so much of that had community input or has community input being the driving force of that. So as you look at the entire organization from the top down, from a broad strokes perspective, how does the public then help refocus West Bloomfield Parks from where it's at now, which is very satisfactory to the community, to continue that trend into the future?
Well, that's a great question because staff certainly does a lot of professional development. We're constantly looking at trends. We're looking at what our neighbors are doing. What is the state of Michigan doing? But we also need to hear from our customers because we do this work for them. We want to make this the best Parks and Recreation program for the over 68,000 residents. And we want people to be satisfied with their services, keep coming back, but make it their own. And it doesn't happen in a vacuum. We need to be constantly having those conversations. Constantly, we're reevaluating our surveys, talking to the stakeholders. And as people move in and move out, we want to make sure we're getting it right. We don't ever want to find ourselves stagnant.
And that's an important part of this, especially when there's so much change that's undergoing with West Bloomfield's parks going forward. As we already mentioned, plans to develop Pine Lake Park are already in motion. Of course, the community center, now that construction is already underway. So community input can play a big role in everywhere else across West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation going forward. More information on this, how you can participate, is on wbparks.org. The survey will open through September 30th. Kelly Heyer joins us, the executive director of West Bloomfield Parks. Part of this entire survey process is actually going to be not only online, but having mobile engagement opportunities at some of the events coming up. How is that going to manifest, Kelly?
So that will be at any of our free or perhaps even paid for events. And we want to make sure that we're engaging with the people that are already using our services too. And so this is an opportunity for you to quick stop by, and we will give you some raffle tickets to put in a version of a ballot box that will be labeled, and you'll be able to pick your top 3 priorities that you would like to weigh in on. And then we also have it can be for any age, but really directed for kids. And it is going to be asking them the question, draw us your favorite amenity in a park or favorite thing about a park. And then they will be able to use crayons, markers. And so if they're not verbal yet, they can draw us what brings them joy and happiness when they're outside or maybe using a Parks and Recreation service. So that'll be a quick way for people that are already going about their way, doing their business, and just quick come see us for a few minutes. And maybe if those activities aren't interesting to you, you can leave a comment card with us, or we can take down your comment and we'll certainly drop it in the bin. So that is our version of a mobile engagement this time around Siler.
Where did the idea for that come from, to be able to get that input from people on site at these events? What does that add to the process for your team as you draft that next master plan?
Well, I would say traditionally, prior to COVID and being able to do hybrid meetings or even virtual meetings, traditionally, when Parks and Recreation departments did any kind of community engagement, it was come to this one meeting, and it would be advertised for probably an evening. Sometimes they would do morning and a nighttime option. And with people's schedules these days and being overly scheduled and so many different meetings that people and different after school activities, that we wanted to make it easier for people to connect. So we went back to the survey online that was very successful last time. We had over 800 respondents when we did this 5 years ago. And then we thought, all right, people are so busy, let's come to them. So let us make it very easy for them to give feedback. And they're already going to be at our Parks and Recreation programs or our parks. So we know that they're going to be maybe a little bit more favorable to give us some feedback. And then we'll still do the traditional come to an evening meeting, or maybe it's an online meeting, so people can connect that way too. We don't want to lose out on those successes, but we want to meet people where they are and make sure that we're trying to get a little glimmer of feedback from all types of users.
Kelly Heyer joins us on the Splash Live. West Bloomfield Parks revising their master plan and planning for the future going forward. They want the community's input. The survey is open right now on their website, wbparks.org. Front and center on the homepage, you'll have a link to click through to learn more information. You can also visit them at a number of their in-person events this fall to learn more about the master plan process that will guide future improvements, investments, and projects over the next 5 years of West Bloomfield Parks. Kelly, overall, if you had to put out a survey, we haven't done this as anybody else, but if you had to look at all the different individual organizations throughout Greater West Bloomfield, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find one that's got better reviews overall than West Bloomfield Parks. That being said, when you get the community's input, everyone's putting their special touch on it. Some of their ideas are quite lofty, some of them are not very specific. So when you get all this information that comes through from so many different perspectives, so many different needs, so many different desires from the community, how do you take all that information and then translate that into actual action that can be taken by your team that satisfies everybody involved?
Well, that is a conundrum, isn't it? However, I think we're really good at that. So we take the feedback and say to ourselves, and it usually isn't a staff group effort, and we say, all right, what can we really activate on, and what's going to be for the greater good? Because typically our decisions are always made for the greater community. We never want to seem individualized per se on our parks and recreation amenities or services. And so then you to also take a look at the budget and the timing. Is this a great idea for now, or is this an idea that has to, we need to do a little bit of research, and maybe it's something we can do in a few years from now. But all of that said, it is surprising that typically ideas are repeated and oftentimes requested in multiples. And so that's when we see patterns in the survey respondents, then that's an aha moment for us saying, all right, we need to probably activate on that, or see how we can put that on the list and we can work towards that goal. Because not everything happens immediate. Every year we come out with a budget and a plan and a lineup of our programs. And it is because it is so many moving parts, and because we're in the people business, there is a little bit of strategy to implement. But yeah, it's overwhelming at first, but when you dive into the data, it is oftentimes you can find a pattern, and we're able to pick it apart and try to activate it. That's one thing that I'm really proud of our team, that we're able to activate on that.
And what are some of those key areas that you're really looking for input from the people of West Bloomfield Township on as you put together this 5-year plan for West Bloomfield Parks?
It breaks down to amenities, of course, and our programs and our services. So those are the top two things that you'll see the questions formulated around on the existing questionnaire. The next thing is, where should our priorities be? Is it in safety? Is it in accessibility? Is it in sustainability? All of those things are very important, but we unfortunately need the residents to rate it, and so to say. So we want to make sure that we're addressing maybe some deficiencies. We've got different kinds of rating scales on there. But yes, when it comes to the bigger priorities for the next 5 years, because we have so much capital projects already underway, and like you said, the community center, Pine Lake Park, we've got some smaller things such as the dog park improvements. And we want to make sure that the next 5 years, we're moving in a direction that everyone can manage and still be useful of our services, because we haven't done development like this, I would say, since the trail in Marshbank came online. That was in the late 2000s. So we have not undertaken, and of course the community center project is the biggest capital project we've ever done historically. So we've got a lot of things still that need to be finished up, but yes, we are looking for those maybe the respondents will see the list and it'll be easy, but it's going to be challenging because we have so many great things happening. What would be on the next horizon for us?
And lastly, Kelly, after all this is collected, after September 30th comes and goes, and you've collected all this information from so many people in the public, what are the next steps? How can people keep up to date with the master plan process from September onward?
Yeah, so I would say tune into the commission meetings. We'll also have updates in our email blast and, of course, the website dedicated to the master plan. But it will be on review for the public starting approximately December 1st. Through the beginning of January. And that's truly when we'll have a draft of our next 5-year plan out to the public, and they'll be able to come see a copy, request a copy, review it online. And so that's probably the last and final opportunity for them to weigh in on.
Each and every month, there's one public meeting of West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Commission. It's a 6 p.m. Wednesday night meeting right here on Civic Center TV. You can also find all their meetings online on civiccentertv.com. Kelly Hires with us as West Bloomfield Parks is taking survey answers and queries from the people of West Bloomfield Township as they put together their master plan for the next 5 years. Kelly, anything else for us on this process or other things we should be keeping up on going forward?
Well, no, I think you hit the major things, Tyler, and I appreciate you having us on the show because we really want to reach out to as many residents as possible. So thank you again.
Once again, the website wbparks.org for more information on the master plan and how you can contribute your information as well. Kelly, thank you so much.
Bye, everybody. Have a great week.
Their fall guide is already out and about and open. Registration for fall programs open. Their fall guide also on their website, wbparks.org. You can also keep up to date with everything happening across West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation on Facebook at WB Parks and Instagram at WB_Parks. Easy to find them everywhere and keep up to date with what's happening in our parks and all the fun happening across Greater West Bloomfield. Veterans across Greater West Bloomfield and throughout Oakland County, resources are available for you on a number of different issues that may affect you specifically and uniquely. Look, it's hard to find resources and sometimes the VA can be helpful, but oftentimes it's very much not. Oakland County is coming in with a free Veterans Resource Fair coming up on Friday, August 28th from 9 a.m. to noon. Jake Schaff from our team spoke to a member of the veterans team at Oakland County to learn more.
Garth, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Always love talking about stuff like this. Great ways for everybody in the community to stop by to get these resources. For someone who has never attended one of these fairs before, what can they expect when they walk through the doors of an Oakland County Veterans Resource Fair?
Yeah, so we have 3 time slots assigned, so either 9 a.m., 10 a.m., or 11 a.m. As you indicated earlier, the resource fair goes from 9 a.m. to noon. They come in, and if they have registered, they are entitled to a Meyer voucher of $100, which is an incentive to try to get them to actually come in and attend the resource fair, and it also provides them with some food assistance, obviously. And they can come to the Oakland County Veteran Services table and receive that Meyer voucher, and then they can go around and connect with all the resources that are going to be at that resource fair.
That's right, making sure that everything is available for these veterans so that they can feel comfortable and that they have everything that they need for the rest of their life. And these fairs have grown quite a bit over the last few years. How have you seen this vision and these fairs evolve over the last several years, would you say?
Yeah, at the first, they actually started out just as a food assistance where we actually gave out food boxes, and that was it. Basically, they came in, we gave them a food box, and we didn't have the other resources available. Then we said, let's kind of expand these, make sure that veterans are connecting to all the benefits that they're entitled to. And then we got some grant money from the state of Michigan. We were able to purchase the Meyer vouchers to use that as an incentive. And really, that has really helped us expand. We started out, we would get 100, 200. Now we get close to 500 veterans and dependents that attend each resource fair.
Wow, quite a big jump. And as you said, lots of different organizations are being represented at these events for so many different purposes. How do you determine which resources veterans need the most and which partners should be involved with this resource fair?
Yeah, first and foremost, we want to make sure that everything that they're providing to veterans or their dependents is free of charge. So nobody can charge anything at these resource fairs. We also screen them to make sure that they're not taking advantage of veterans, trying to create a list that they will then call later to try and sell them something or anything of that nature. Then we also try to make sure that we're trying to give them resources that will help them financially in healthcare. And also, one of the things that we're finding is that coming to these resource fairs is kind of a social connection for a lot of them. I mean, it gets them out of the house, it gets them talking to other people, which is a big advantage. But you know, again, we want to make sure that their healthcare needs, if they need assistance with utilities, we have some resources there. We provide them with, there's some DTE provides free LED light bulbs at these events. Our health department is there providing immunizations at these events. So, and those are all provided free of charge, of course.
Healthcare, finance, food services, these fairs have it all. And with so many resources that are available, let me ask you this, Garth, what are some of the resources available at these fairs that maybe veterans might not even realize that they qualify for or might have difficulty finding on their own?
Yeah, the first and foremost is our office is there, so we obviously can assist them in filing for any benefits that they're entitled to from the VA. So a lot of times veterans think, oh, I've got to do this on my own. The process is very complicated. There's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of forms to fill out. So we can connect with them. We can actually go through that process with them and make it as simple as possible and make sure that they're connected to all those veterans benefits that they're entitled to. There's also some benefits for our veterans who are hard of hearing. CapTel is there. They provide free caption phones so that they can actually communicate. It provides, you know, the caption there so they can read what's being said, and you know, that's kind of a nice little benefit for them, again, if they're having trouble communicating and staying in touch with others. There's also Thaw is usually there, which provides it's the heat and warmth fund. They can provide utility assistance if they're struggling to pay their utility bills. Michigan Works is there to assist them if they're looking for employment. MSU Extension is there with nutrition information. Oakland County Parks is there with parks information. There's a lot of different resources that that veterans can connect to that they may not be aware of. For example, Oakland County Parks, veterans are entitled to entry into any Oakland County Park free of charge.
That's amazing. So many incredible resources available at these fairs. For those just joining us on the Splash Live, I'm talking with Garth Wooten, the Oakland County Veterans Services Divisional Manager, talking to us about the Veterans Resource Fair that's going to be coming up in Oakland County on August 28th from 9 a.m. to noon. Now, as you were saying, Garth, lots of different resources available. When it comes to these veterans, a lot of them are older. It's a lot of information that's being thrown at them. It can get overwhelming. And I think you just touched on this a little bit, but how important is it to have benefits counselors available in person to sit down with veterans and to help them navigate the claims process?
Yeah, as you indicated, a lot of our clientele are older, and the technology is a challenge. I mean, I'm you know, at that age where I sometimes struggle with technology and trying to do everything online. So we actually meet face-to-face with veterans, and we complete the forms for them to make the process as simple as possible. Again, if you're trying to do this stuff on your own, it's a real challenge, and we're advocates for you, so we're going to make sure that you get what you're entitled to. We're going to complete the forms that are necessary. We're going to submit them to the appropriate place. We're going to do all the follow-up necessary, including an appeal if it gets to that stage. So again, we try to make the process as simple as possible, and we value that face-to-face connection. It's so much better and a much better way to connect and make sure that people understand what's going on, rather than trying to do something via computer or over the phone. That face-to-face interview is crucial, we feel.
I completely agree, and it's amazing that you guys are creating this warm and inviting environment, but you're also creating one that these veterans know that they can trust and that they know that they are in really, really good hands. And I'm curious, how have you seen the fairs, or how have you seen the veterans grow and change as a result of these fairs and stopping by and learning about these resources firsthand?
Yeah, I think it's like, as I indicated earlier, we've really expanded the number of veterans that have been able to attend these fairs. It's beneficial from them actually connecting to these benefits, and then also I think as an opportunity for them to get out, socialize. Veterans, you know, when they get together, they have that connection. They all served, so for them, you know, sometimes they're able to see people that they haven't seen in a while, or from that social aspect, it's also an important aspect. Also, the food assistance that we provide through the Meyer vouchers has been very beneficial. As you know, and anybody knows, food prices over the last couple of years have gone up pretty dramatically, and for veterans or dependents who are maybe on a fixed income, that's created challenges. So the Meyer vouchers are that little extra help, hopefully, that, you know, gets them to be able to have a nutritious, you know, healthy food sources available to them.
Yeah, these food prices are no joke, and that applies to everybody. So it's really, really great that you have these vouchers available to make sure that these veterans get what they need. A few more questions, Garth, before we wrap things up. Are there particular needs that you're seeing more frequently among Oakland County veterans today than you were seeing maybe several years ago?
Well, the food assistance obviously is one that I just touched on. The assistance, I think, with the claims processing, again, it's the complexity of trying to do it on their own, and being able to, again, sit with them and go over those benefits with them. A lot more veterans are becoming aware of the possibility of, you know, that they may have a service-connected disability. The VA has expanded a lot of the presumptive conditions for those veterans that were exposed to Agent Orange, and also they expanded them to include burn pit exposure for those that served in Iraq or Afghanistan, which has greatly expanded the number of veterans that may be eligible under it. And it was some legislation under what's called the PACT Act, which was probably the biggest expansion of veterans benefits, at least in the 29 years that I've been working with veterans.
Wow, a lot has changed in that time. Glad that we're seeing these events continuing to grow and affecting more and more people every single year. Garth, for a veteran or a family member watching this who may be hesitant to ask for help, what would you say to encourage them to attend the upcoming fair and take advantage of the resources that are available?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say make sure they pre-register, because that is a requirement. But what I would say is that, you know, you've earned these benefits. It's not a handout. This is something that you've earned through your service to your country. There's no reason to be hesitant to apply or to feel that I'm taking benefits away from another veteran or another individual. That's not how the system works. Again, you've earned these benefits. Please take advantage of them, and please do it before you get in a crisis situation, because one of the most difficult things for us is when we see somebody that could have applied for a benefit years ago and would have been in a much better situation that then comes in once they get in that crisis where they're not able to pay for food, or they're having serious medical issues that they haven't been able to get help for. So again, make sure you apply and do it before you get in that crisis situation.
That's right. The time to act is now. Make sure that you are set up very, very well for the future. Garth, last question before we wrap things up. You just talked about pre-registration. Where can people go to pre-register for this event and to maybe gain a little bit more information about this resource fair? Yeah,
our website is probably the best way to get there, www.oakgov.com/veterans.
That's the place to go, and that is the place to gain all of this information and to know what to expect with this upcoming Veterans Resource Fair. Garth, thank you so much for joining us today here on the Splash Live.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Important resources for our local veterans as they have so many unique challenges that they face here in Greater West Bloomfield and throughout Oakland County. Oakgov.com is the place to go for more information on where these veteran resource fairs may be in the future, as well as other resources that are available every single day. If the VA isn't helpful to you, Oakland County can be of huge assistance. If you need more assistance getting in contact with Oakland County, contact your local city hall or town hall, and they will get you connected with the county for those resources outside of that fair. Again, that resource fair Friday, August 28th from 9 a.m. until 12 noon. Oakland County is hosting another one of its Veterans Resource Fairs, and you can find more information on that on oakgov.com. We're just a few days away from the kickoff of high school football season in the state of Michigan. The first games of the 2026 season begin on Thursday. West Bloomfield kicks off its season on Friday this week on the road at Dearborn-Fordson, but they already got some game action in last week as they hosted the scrimmage at home at the Swamp with Brother Rice and Harper Woods. I spoke to head coach Zach Hilbers after the scrimmage to learn more about how these activities help him and his team get ready for the season.
Well, I think when you play teams like to the caliber that we saw today, they're going to show you your deficiencies a little bit, and I like that. Like I like being challenged to kind of find out what we are and what we got to get better at, and we got a decent idea of that, and we'll get a better idea when we watch the film about stuff that we got to fix in the next week.
Because you get all this time with your team, you lock in where you're in West Bloomfield High School for a full week, getting to know the team. Teams getting to build that chemistry, practicing day in and day out. But it's a lot different when you go up against different competition. So after you see what you saw today, what are some things that you're looking toward these final 7 days, 8 days before you guys go on the road to Dearborn?
I would just say consistency, because when we were at our best, we looked like we competed for spurts, but that doesn't cut it when you play teams that are really good. You have to do that, for 4 quarters, and not to say you're not going to make mistakes. It's going to happen, but if we were more consistent, really from the start, I would have been a little bit happier. But at least we know now what we got to work on.
Pre-game and after the scrimmage, seeing a lot of passion from Jackson Carver, from Tristan Hunter, from so many others that are seniors and juniors, returning varsity players. What does that mean to you and your coaches to see that coming in a game that doesn't count on the record, but can have a big impact in the weeks ahead?
Well, they know the finality of it all. You know what I mean? Obviously, the season hasn't started yet, but they know that their backs are kind of up against it and their time's running out, and I think they're acting accordingly. They're taking charge of the team and laying out the expectations that it takes to get done what you need to. So, they've done a pretty good job. We had a great senior class last year with great leadership, and there was a big void, and they've done a really good job, those guys and the rest of them, of kind of stepping up to that role.
Returning 5 starters on offense, 6 on the defensive side for the Lakers in 2026. You and I talked about this previously. Coming into this season, what you're wanting to see is a lot of these younger guys that you think have a ton of potential that could step up and be impressive this season, all across all 3 phases. How satisfied with you with their performance tonight against teams that have had their rush of success in years past as well?
The younger guys, that is? Some good. I'm sure there were some mistakes out there too, but I saw enough flashes where it's like, we might have what we think we have. But just like with the team in general, especially for younger guys, it really is about learning how to be consistent and not get too high when you have a couple good plays or too low if you make a couple mistakes, and just staying level-headed and doing your job.
Last few days before the season, what are those final adjustments that you make, those final days? How does that look for the West Bloomfield Lakers as you get ready to go on the road week 1 next week Friday against Dearborn-Fordson?
Yeah, it's definitely a balance, because we have to look inward first and fix the stuff that we're not doing good enough and get to the levels that we need to be at. But then you also have to turn your attention to your opponent and actually game plan, which we don't do a ton for in the scrimmage. We just make sure we run all our coverages. Are we making mistakes? We're going to line up in all our formations. Can we get in and out of them? We don't, specifically game plan for our opponents like you would in the regular season. So we look inward first, and then after get to Monday, we're going to start looking across down the road at Fordson.
Coach, your lasting message for the team coming out of tonight, and your lasting message for them as we're just a few days out from the beginning of this season?
Just be at your best every play. Football's a blessing. You don't get it for that long. It's one of those games. I can go play golf right now. I can play pickup basketball. I don't get to go play football. Like, when it's over, it's over. So enjoy it and take advantage of the opportunities you have.
Road opens next week on the road in Dearborn. Dearborn-Fordson first on the docket before the Lakers come home in week number 2 to play Troy. Coach, thank you so much.
You got it. Thanks.
It's going to be an interesting game on Friday. A year ago, West Bloomfield kicked off the 2025 season with the first of its 2 consecutive blowout victories, 37-0. They defeated Dearborn-Fordson at home before coming back the next week to also defeat Southfield A&T 37-0. Now they go on the road to complete that home and home in 2026 against Dearborn-Fordson, a team that went on to be a playoff squad and a pretty deep run in the playoffs in 2025. Bit of a revenge game in hostile territory right away to kick off the season in 2026. It'll be very interesting. You can keep up to date with the West Bloomfield Lakers all throughout the season on our website on civiccentertv.com as we take you along for the ride for another exciting season of West Bloomfield Lakers football. We got the inside look from the West Bloomfield Lakers during their week-long lock-in at West Bloomfield High School. Of course, we've shown you before how that lock-in was put to use, but also got an inside look at some of the ways the team prepares for that very first game. Jonathan Montgomery has more.
Just a few minutes ago, here at West Bloomfield High School, the boys varsity team put on a show through every drill, through every scrimmage, through every workout, all cumulative of this week's lock-in week, where they all come together, they live together, they share meals together, they work out together, building team leadership and camaraderie as they prepare for the 2026 football season.
It's been going pretty well. Intensity's high. You know, it's always a little bit of a drag when we first get out here. 2-a-days, long days for the kids. It's hot outside. But overall, we've been overcoming some obstacles and getting some good stuff out the kids, getting some good work in.
So you have been here, you know, you graduated 2017, so you were a part of this whole process. So how does it compare and how's it different from when you were a part of this team?
It's a lot different. Generational shifts. You come around now, there's a lot more equipment, a lot more, X's and O's and type stuff like that. Different characters of kids. Just kind of seeing more diversity in the population. So it's definitely a change in kind of coaching styles, trying to figure out what's the best way to connect with each kid. But overall, just trying to keep the culture the same.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of a bond forming, or maybe a little bit deeper bond, because I think you kind of always have it. We spent a lot of time together in the summer already, but, just kind of being locked in the room, for lack of a better term, together. You just kind of see that forming a little bit, which is pretty cool. It's our 3rd day of official practice where we're allowed to put shoulder pads on for the first time, despite of all the stuff we've done all summer. So that kind of brings its own little bit of energy and juice to the day. And that's a pretty cool thing, and they get excited about it, which probably helps because we're all kind of running on fumes right now.
Yeah. So it was a long practice, but I seen everybody working hard and, giving their best in these drill. And, seeing that, how does that make you feel, looking ahead to the 2026 season?
Yeah, I mean, I was proud of how they did today. I really was, because, you could look at it, all the reasons you had maybe not to have a good day. It was hot. It was humid. We slept 9 hours total in 3 days probably. Your body aches, you're sore, and they just, pushed through and did what they're supposed to do, and I'm proud of that. And as good as it is, and it's going to make us better, it doesn't guarantee anything in your future. It's still, this afternoon and tomorrow, we got to do the same thing. Otherwise, you kind of start sliding backwards.
Being out here today showed me why Laker football has a legacy that it has. I mean, commitment from every player, commitment from coaches to hold each other up, keep each other accountable. It makes great football, and it can make a great 2026 football season. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jonathan Montgomery.
Once again, our coverage of West Bloomfield Laker football will be on civiccentertv.com and, of course, all across our social media. We'll have more information as time progresses on our coverage of the games on game day itself, but you'll always be able to find our updates on the team throughout the season on our website, and tune in each and every week as I talk to head coach Zach Hilbers and some of the players, some of the coaches, and get to learn more about the team on This Week in Laker Football. The school year is just about to get underway. 2026-2027 in the West Bloomfield School District all kicks off on August 31st across all schools throughout the district. Our Jonathan Montgomery spoke to Superintendent Dr. Danya Bazzi to learn more about what's ahead in this upcoming school year.
Dr. Bazzi, welcome to the show.
For having me.
Always, always. So as you welcome students and families back for the 2026-2027 school year, what is your overall message to the West Bloomfield community as we begin what feels like a very, very new chapter?
You know, just a lot of things to be excited about, a lot of momentum in West Bloomfield. Even over the summer, you've seen our students excel outside of the classroom in a lot of their extracurricular activities and academics that they continue into the summer months. As you mentioned, we're opening a new school and beginning the construction of another one in Doherty Elementary. We're continuing to strengthen academic opportunities that are at all levels of our system, elementary, middle, and high school, that you'll see, you know, a first-year implementation this year. But I think what's most, you know, what we're really, the overall message is that we're staying true to the strategic plan that was created by the community in 2022, using that as our guiding map, and then making sure that we're routing ourselves along the strategic plan, making sure that every student is challenged, supported, and prepared for what comes next. So this year our theme is we're charting new waters, but we certainly know where we're heading.
I love that, you know, charting new waters. That's really great, because that really is cumulative of what everything is happening. You know, Chico opening and then Doherty Elementary moving into the groundbreaking phase. So, you know, tell me, what does that mean to see those plans? Like you said, some are in phase one, some are already finished. You already been through the whole process. What does that mean to see these plans become a reality?
You know, it's incredibly rewarding because these projects are years in the making. Yeah. You know, we started these discussions in 2022, and here we are in 2026. So you see plans, drawings, you have discussions with curricular leaders, facility leaders, teachers, art teachers, music teachers, and you really all come together to build a building that will serve, you know, our children for generations to come. You know, and we don't lose sight of the fact that none of this would be possible without our community and the people that helped us with the May 2023 bond. So we don't just see these as construction projects. They're investments in our students, they're investments in our educators, and investments in the future of West Bloomfield.
I love that. And just, you know, like you said, making sure that you're investing in the future. This is, you know, these are, you know, great buildings and great things that are happening that, you know, these are, you know, like buildings that have been around, you know, taking care of students and everything for years. And now this is going to be a new place, a new, you know, school that will be, you know, excellent for, like you said, for years to come. And I want to talk a little bit about, you know, Chico in particular. They're celebrating a ribbon cutting on September 16th. And what are some of the features at this new building that you believe that will make the biggest difference for students and staff?
You know, I think what is most exciting about Chico is how the building was built intentionally around how children learn today. That there's flexible learning environments, giving teachers more options for whole group and small group instruction, for collaborative learning. And I have to say, I'm excited about the slide, which is right in the center of the building. But, you know, being serious, I mean, the slide is great, and kids need to feel happy when they come into a school. They need to feel that it is a space that was intentionally designed for them. Our teachers obviously were involved with us through the design phase of this, and we really took a look at, from the instructional lens, from a facilities and efficiency sense, but basically the main goal was how could we design a building that is best utilized for students and staff, you know, not only for the year 2026, but flexible enough that in 50 years that the space will still work for learners, because students definitely learn different than I learned back in elementary school, and in 30 years it's going to be different as well.
Absolutely, and I think that's such a good point, and that leads me to my, you know, next question. You talked about, you know, a little bit about the slide, but really, you know, what you're saying is about, you know, new and modern learning environments for, you know, a new generation of kids. And when you walk through, you know, not just Chico but Doherty, what are you seeing, or even the plans for Doherty? What do you see that reflects how education has changed, and where do you believe that this is headed?
You know, I think education has changed in that your educational institution and your school and your communities are really the hub of the community. You really don't think of West Bloomfield Township without thinking of West Bloomfield School District. I think everyone's priority as a community is best servicing our students and making sure that our children have the best education possible. When you look at Chico, what's special about it, it was designed almost like a children's museum. So what you're going to see is learning on every square inch of space and walls within the building. It's kind of built almost like a children's museum, and all of that content that's in the building is specifically aligned to Michigan content standards, as well as Common Core state standards in terms of, social studies and that Michigan history and the rich history that Michigan has. Our students will be able to live that every day as they walk through the building.
You know, I love that. Like you said, it's like a museum. I can't wait to see it and see how everything looks on the inside. You know, I've passed it so many times, the new building, and it looks amazing. You know, I'm really surprised. I'm like, oh, wait, this is elementary school. This is like I'm like, I wish I could, start over and go there, because it's such a nice place. And I think that's so important that every level, through the hallways, how they walk in, the whole atmosphere, the whole vibe of the school is something with, making sure these elementary school students are, just surrounded with an environment where they can grow and learn. And with so much happening at the elementary level, how do you balance the excitement surrounding the new construction and new buildings with like day-to-day priorities of academics and student well-being, and also supporting our teachers?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question, because there is a lot of construction going on, and even with like Chico is really two buildings, right? There's a preschool as well as the elementary school, so that our south side has dedicated preschool. But in terms of the academics, it's never either or. We do both. We do all of it, and sometimes that means late nights and weekend work for our staff and administrators, but we truly believe that our students are worth that investment. It also takes a great team. We have people like Scott Long and our learning services team who do a great job with keeping teaching and learning at the center of our work. If you look at our finances, you can see a strong investment in the academics. And then we have leaders. We have Jamie Stoudemire and Ted Stinson who handle our facilities and operations, and they make sure that work is done. Again, what is special is you have groups of people who work together. Facilities and operations are working with teaching and learning to make sure that the spaces that we're constructing and designing is with a teaching and learning lens. So my responsibility is to make sure all those pieces remain connected to the same strategic plan that we mentioned earlier. And it's never either or. We have to focus, on all of those things.
So right now on the Splash Live, I am talking to Dr. Danya Bazzi, Superintendent of the West Bloomfield School District, just talking about the exciting things happening for the upcoming 2026-2027 school year. So Dr. Bazzi, you said things about strategizing as far as like with education and the strategic plans that you guys have put together, to make and to ensure a great and successful school year this year and just for years to come. The new Chico Elementary School will also include an early childhood center. Now, how does that incorporating that early childhood education into the campus fit into the district's broader vision for supporting students and families?
Yeah. So again, this is something we're really excited about, because historically preschool has been a little bit of get in where you fit in. Like you have an empty classrooms in elementaries, we'll put in preschools. And basically the space was really intentionally designed for our littlest learners to have a beautiful and educationally focused space for our preschool students. So another thing is it creates a seamless education as students attend Chico. Though at the preschool center, a lot of those students will then continue into Chico and have a really sustained amount of time there. So this is exactly what you get from strategic planning, that long-term visioning to say, we're going to invest in a dedicated preschool space so that families have that continuity and accessibility, because the geographic makeup of West Bloomfield makes it hard to come all the way from the south side of the district to the north side for preschool. So we're very excited about the West Bloomfield Preschool Academy opening at that site this school year.
I love that, and like you said, just making sure that this is something that is intentional, you know, and that's what I'm hearing. It's a lot of intention. It's a lot of strategic things that are, you know, going into the education on every level, every age. It's not just, oh, it's a room, let's just use this for preschool. It is like designated. This is early childhood education, and that support is going to make so much great impact, you know, throughout the years to come for this school district. And I got a couple more questions for you. You know, when you look in 5 to 10 to even 15 years down the road, what do you hope these investments in these facilities and programs will mean for future generations of West Bloomfield students?
You know, I think our hope is that students have the skills and the experiences that they need to be successful for their path. Everyone's path is going to be a little bit different. We often say in West Bloomfield that we're creating a systems of school rather than one school system, because we know that education is not one size fits all. You have students who are going to want to go into the trades. You're going to have students who want to go onto the armed forces. You're going to have students who want to go to a 2-year institution or a 4-year institution. To me, all of these experiences mean, you know, what it is to be a Laker, right? We know that the decisions we make today have impact on future decisions. And so that's why it's really important that we invest in our educators, we invest in safe and modern environments, that we have strong academic pathways for our students. I think if we do these things right, the investments will continue to serve our students long after we're gone, but the work will continue because of the systems and processes that we've put in place.
I love that, and like you said, just it's not only just the students, taking care of them and making sure that even after, you know, once they leave high school, once they go to college and then come back, you know, a lot of them may return back to West Bloomfield, but knowing that what they got through, you know, elementary and, you know, early childhood, elementary, middle school, all the way to high school and beyond, that they can come back and invest back in the community. And that's what it is, just a future investment in, you know, the new doctors and lawyers and mechanics and all these different parts that make, you know, West Bloomfield, you know, amazing and as great as it is. And my last question for you is, if you can give one message to the students, parents, teachers, and staff as they begin this new school year, what would you want them to know about the direction of the district?
You know, I think what the direction this year is really a strong academic focus. This year is the first year that we're implementing advanced pathways at West Bloomfield Middle School, which is a continuation of the magnet program that people are aware of. We continue to push students into level up math so that they're on track to hit calculus by their senior year. We continue to expand our AP advanced placement courses at West Bloomfield High School. And we also are looking at, you know, always providing supports and interventions to students. Again, for us, what I want to take away is that everything we do is tied to academics. Yes. Every construction project, every initiative ties back to ensuring that our students are academically prepared for when they leave, you know, the walls at West Bloomfield and are successful. So at the same time, we know academic excellence matters, and that's priority number one. But at the same time, it's not an either or. As I say, it's both. It's really important that our students and families feel connected and valued. And our strategic plan highlights both of those areas, that we want our community to feel supported, connected, but there will always be the strong academic focus tied to all that we do.
I love that. You know, putting the students, putting the people first, and putting education first. So many amazing things are happening with this, you know, in this school year. I'm excited to see, you know, all the things to come for every school at every level with openings of new schools and all these things. It's going to be so beautiful and so great. And, you know, everybody, teachers, parents, students, they're in for a treat for the 2026-2027 school year. Dr. Bazzi, thank you so much for joining me today here on The Splash Live.
Thank you. We hope to see everyone at the ribbon cutting 9/16 at 6:30 p.m. at Chico.
Well, the school year doesn't start until August 31st, but the start of the week is come and gone here on the Splash Live. We'll be here with you throughout the rest of this week, giving you the latest from throughout the Greater West Bloomfield area, and we thank you for tuning in. That is going to be our show for today. I want to thank everyone involved, including Jonathan Montgomery and Calvin Brown at Master Control, as well as our co-producer Jake Schaff. And thank you for joining us on today's adventure with us as well. Television that's close to home is always online on civiccentertv.com and across our social media. For our entire team at Civic Center TV, I'm Tyler Kieft. Thanks for tuning in to the Splash Live.